Good morning. I'll call this meeting to order. We have a quorum. All three commissioners are present. We'll start out with Commissioner Gross and a flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the minutes of April 15th, 2013.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Are there any changes, additions, or deletions? Call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. There is no public comment.
Okay. I move that we approve the proclamation declaring the month of May as Mental Health Month.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded.
I'm going to read it.
Commissioner Fund, could you read that? Oh, you'll read it, Lee.
Before the Board of County Commissioners of Lewis County, Washington, a proclamation declaring May 2013 as Mental Health Month. Whereas serious mental illness affects 1 in every 4 people annually, and whereas serious mental illness is more common than cancer, diabetes, and heart disease, and is the #1 reason for hospital admissions nationwide, and whereas serious mental illness has been scientifically proven to be a highly treatable illness of the brain, and whereas scientific research is producing tremendous breakthroughs in the understanding of mental illness, resulting in more effective treatments that allow people to reclaim full and productive lives. And whereas misunderstandings exist about mental illness and our social culture often wrongly imposes stigma on it. Now therefore be it resolved that the Lewis County Board of County Commissioners does hereby proclaim the month of May 2013 as Mental Health Month in Lewis County to increase public awareness of mental illness. Done in open session this 22nd day of April 2013.
Any further discussion?
There may be some folks out there.
Good morning, Tara Smith, Lewis County Public Health and Social Services. And the Wallaces are here to talk a little bit about the National Alliance on Mentally Ill, our local chapter, and the proclamation.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I'm Klaus Wallace. I'm a volunteer with NAMI, Lewis County, National Alliance on Mental Illness. First of all, let me thank you for the proclamation and for having us this morning. We really appreciate it. I'd like to say a few words about the National Alliance on Mental Illness and on what we do here in Lewis County. Mental illness affects everyone. Nearly 60 million Americans experience a mental health condition every year, regardless of race, age, religion, or economic status. Mental illness impacts the life of at least 1 in 4 adults and 1 in 10 children across the United States. People living with mental illness need help and hope. They need a community that supports them, their families, and their recovery. Because mental illness devastates the lives of so many Americans, NAMI works every day to save every life. NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization dedicated to building better lives for the millions of Americans affected by mental illness. NAMI advocates for access to services, treatment, and especially eliminates stigma. It supports and research and furthers the commitment to raise awareness and build a community for hope for all affected. We here in Lewis County meet 2 times per month at the Chehalis Library, The first Tuesday of every month, we meet at 6 o'clock for an educational support group meeting to learn about the variety of topics concerning mental health. The family support group meets every third Tuesday, also at the library. That is for family caretakers and friends of persons with mental illness. This is a very important meeting, and it is sort of a confidential meeting because what is being said and what we do at that meeting remains in that meeting room. It is very important for caregivers to, at least once in a while, let go what really bothers them. And this also gives them encouragement that there is hope. And finally, we have a very important meeting, which is called the Connection Recovery Support Meeting. This is for adults with a mental illness, regardless of their diagnosis. It meets every Tuesday at 5:30 at the Twin Cities Senior Center. For the month of May, for the Mental Illness Awareness Month, we have a special program at 6 o'clock on Tuesday, May 7th at our meeting. It is called In Our Own Voice. This is a free presentation by people living with mental illness. This is a very powerful program. And finally, we start in May our premier program, training program, which is free. It is called Family to Family. It is an education program. It lasts either once per week for 12 weeks or twice a week for 6 weeks. It is a course for family and friends of individuals with serious mental illness. It is instructed by trained NAMI volunteers. And also in May is the sponsored by NAMI Washington, the state organization, the so-called NAMI Walk. This happens to be on May the 18th in Kirkland. This is the main fund exercise. In other words, we are a volunteer organization, and any organization needs money, and this is the one where we try to raise our money. So if there are any questions, I'll be happy to entertain them. And if you like, I have a few brochures about NAMI in Lewis County. I can leave them with the clerk or with the health department. If there are no questions, thank you very much for listening to me.
I just want to say thank you for your volunteer efforts in Lewis County. We appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you much, sir.
Thank you.
So we'll call for the question on the proclamation. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Chairman, we have one notice item, number 2. I move we approve the notice agenda, resolution number 13-229.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Mr. Lakey.
Rod Lakey with Lewis County Public Works, speaking on behalf of Resolution 13-229. This is a notice. This resolution will give notice that a public hearing will be held on May 6, 2013 to assess project performance of the Vader Enchanted Valley Water System Improvement Project, partially funded with Community Development Block Grant funding. A public hearing on the project performance is required as part of the project closeout. An on-site monitoring of the contract was conducted by the CDBG project manager on January 24, 2013. Lewis County received a summary of satisfactory findings on February 28, 2013, and the next step is to conduct a public hearing. Just as a recap, the Vader water system was improved, a total of about $1.3 million, with $613,000 coming from CDBG, and the remainder, $714,675 from Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. And half of that is a loan, half of it is loan forgiveness because of the economic state of Vader. So that incorporates about a third of the Vader water system. And this project was roughly 7,000 linear feet of 8-inch water main and 2,000 feet of 4-inch main kind of throughout the system.
Any other questions, discussion? Call for the question on the notice agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Notice agenda is approved.
I'd like to move the consent agenda, which includes 3 through 8, resolution numbers 13-230 through 235.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded.
Mr. Chairman, resolution number 13-230, item number 3 is a approval of warrants. For this meeting, there were 213 regular warrants totaling $391,782.91. There were 11 special purpose warrants totaling $16,432 for a total warrants to be paid $408,214.91. In addition, there are 253 payroll warrants for draws on pay for $231,790. Who's addressing the BOE? Am I doing that?
I guess so.
The Board of Equalization, resolution number 13-231. We have a vacancy on the Board of Equalization, which has been filled by an alternate member, so we needed to appoint another alternate member, and Tom Lurchin has expressed an interest in doing so. Tom Lurchin is a resident of Packwood, has served on different boards in the county, and has expressed an interest in serving as on the Board of Equalization. And so this resolution is to appoint Tom Lurchin as an alternate member to the Board of Equalization with a term expiring June 30th, 2015. And number 5 on the agenda, resolution 13-232, is a cancellation and reissuance of 2 warrants. One to Cenex, which was dated on the 25th of March 2013 in the amount of $20,844.19. And the other is to Metrocall U.S. Mobility, issued on 22nd of March 2013 for $738. Those will be canceled and reissued.
Larry Unselman, Real Estate Services Manager, speaking to item number 6, resolution 12-233.
You don't look at all like April Kelly. Kelly Albert, I mean.
No.
It says here that Kelly Albert is going to be presenting, so I just say it.
Yes.
Well, Kelly would probably be glad to hear that. In the matter of the proposed acquisition of additional right-of-way for Looting House Bridge. Construction of a new Looting House Bridge is planned to replace the bridge that was washed out in the 2007 flood. This project will require additional road right-of-way, and at this time the complete right-of-way plans have not been completed. However, acquisition from one property owner, the Rzinskis, at the present time would move the project closer to being completed. The attached resolution would grant the authority to the Public Works Department to acquire the necessary additional right-of-way from Lance and Joanne Rzinski for the bridge replacement project. Procedures for acquiring the necessary right-of-way, adopted by Resolution 09-381, will be followed. I might add that in the future, as the project plans are completed, we would come back and ask for authority to acquire from the remaining property owners.
Danette York, Public Health and Social Services Director. I am speaking to items number 7 and 8. Number 7 is resolution number 13-234, establishment of a wellness committee for the county. The purpose of this resolution is to formally reestablish a county wellness committee to promote wellness practices within the county government agencies. The United States Surgeon General has declared obesity a national epidemic and appealed for a call to action to prevent and decrease overweight and obesity. Overweight individuals are at a greater risk for adverse health conditions. Since employees spend so much of their time at the workplace, promoting healthy living and providing opportunities for nutrition and physical activity is beneficial to both employees and employer. This county has had a wellness committee for a number of years, but it was put on hold for several months or years due to budget. And the Lewis County Public Health and Social Services Department has received a community transformation grant, which one of the deliverables for was requesting for all counties to have a wellness committee to promote wellness activities. So this resolution meets that grant deliverable, and it makes the wellness committee formal and reactivated. Any questions? Okay, item number 8 is resolution number 13-235. This is approving an agreement between the Community Action Council of Lewis, Mason, and Thurston counties and Lewis County. We've talked about this over the past few weeks, and we are having a public hearing later this morning for the Public Services Community Development Block Grant. So this is approving the professional services contract between Lewis County and Community Action Council of Lewis, Mason, and Thurston County. The contract will be July 1st, 2013 through June 30th of 2014. In the past, Thurston County has applied for this community development block grant and served as a recipient of the grant. The grant allows an administrative cost to be retained by the recipient county, but the majority of the funding is passed through and subcontracted with Community Action Council, also known as CAC. This year, Thurston County was unable to provide that service as the recipient because they have reached a threshold of population where they're ineligible to apply. So Lewis County was requested to serve as the recipient. The funding will be used in both Lewis and Mason counties. The total amount of the grant will be $93,971. $3,000 will be retained by Lewis County for administrative cost, and $90,971 will be subcontracted to the Community Action Council.
Are there any questions? If there's no question and no further development, I'll call for the vote on the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Next, we'll have a hearing to obtain citizen views on community development and housing needs and to receive input on proposed projects under consideration for the Community Development Block Grant funding. These hearings will start out with a staff report, followed by a question and answer period. Anyone may ask questions. I will then close the question and answer period and open the hearing for public testimony. If you would like to testify, there's a sheet you can sign up for. After public testimony, we will close the public hearing. So we'll start off with Danette.
Yes. Danette York, Director of Public Health and Social Services, speaking from the staff concerning the public hearing for the Public Services CDBG grant, also Community Development Block Grant. With me today is Mr. John Walsh, who is the Director of the Lewis Mason Thurston Community Action Council. Mr. Walsh and Colonel and former Lewis County Commissioner Ron Averill. Ron Averill represents Lewis County on the Community Action Council board. There is a sign-up sheet on the podium. If any public wishes to make any comments, you do need to sign up on that sign-in sheet, please. There are also handouts available on the rail here at the front of the room. These are Community Development Block Grant handouts. There is a fact sheet and a citizen participation requirement form, and both are available in English and Spanish. Public is welcome to take one with them if they wish, and more copies will be made available if we run out. This public hearing is for the purpose of reviewing the community development and housing needs, informing citizens of the availability of funds and the eligible uses of those funds from the State Public Services Community Development Block Grant, and receiving comments on proposed activities, particularly from lower income persons residing in the Lewis County area. This hearing notice was published on April 10th, 2013 in the East County Journal and on April 11th, 2013 in the Chronicle. Lewis County has submitted an application to be the recipient of the 2013 CDBG Public Services Grant. The total grant award will be $93,971, and of that total, $3,000 will be retained by Lewis County to cover administrative cost. Lewis County will then contract with the Lewis, Mason, and Thurston County CAC, or Community Action Council, for the remaining $90,971. As mentioned previously, in the past, Thurston County has served as a recipient of these funds and contracted with CAC for the funds to be used in all 3 counties. This is the first year that Thurston County is ineligible due to population size to serve as the recipient. Therefore, Lewis County has agreed to serve as the recipient, and the funds will be used only in Lewis and Mason counties. I will now turn it over to Colonel Averill for a brief explanation of how the grant funds will be used in our county.
Thank you very much. One of the reasons that I wanted to come and talk to you this morning on this particular grant is that the Community Action Council it generally runs a little bit below the radar in Lewis County. A lot of folks don't know that we're here, or the number of things that we're doing for the community, and it's quite considerable. Some of you are aware that we do provide some affordable housing in the county. The Virginia Station up in Centralia is one of those housing. It has 36 units of family housing. It's affordable. And we have another unit in Morton, which is called currently the Tilton River housing area, and that one is specifically for seniors and has 14 units for seniors in it. We also have an office in Centralia on Pearl, where citizens can come in and get certain services. Just to show you, during 2012, Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program served 1,316 households in the county. The Emergency Food Assistance Program food banks serve 1,385 households per month on average. The emergency feeding sites serve 694 households per month on average. We weatherize 59 homes in the county. And we provided through the PUD fuel funds for 181 families, and through Pacific Sound Energy for natural gas for 176 families in the area. And then another 4,261 referrals. So there's quite a bit of work that is done by the Community Action Council that the residents in the county and low-income residents benefit. This particular grant that we're doing now is just one of those programs, and I want to laud John Walsh, my buddy from Boston Irishman, for the great work that he's done over the years with the council. The Lewis Mason Thurston Community Action Council sets the standard nationwide for the weatherization program. The federal government uses us as an example, and our practices are passed on to others. So we've just done a terrific job in that particular area. This small grant that we have this morning is only a small one, and is pointed out by Danette. It was originally ministered by Thurston, or it's sponsored by Thurston County and then run by us, and it's been that way since the early 90s. It's not a big program, but we do use it for a number of things, and I'm going to let John sort of talk about specifically what he plans to use this particular grant for.
Thank you, sir. As my name indicated, my name is John Walsh, and I'm the CEO of Community Action Council. I've been working in this community for 37 years, quietly. I don't know how I slip under the radar, but I managed to, and I hope you don't hold my Boston Irish Catholic heritage against me. I don't. First off, I want to thank you for stepping up again. Since I've worked in this community, the Lewis County Commissioners have always been the first when I ask for something. And this goes all the way back to the 70s, so I appreciate you doing that. Specifically related to services, the services Ron indicated bring well over $1 million into this community. And we hope to continue that, obviously, and this grant helps do that. When the Colonel spoke of the utility programs, we do those all for nothing. Any donation that goes to the local utilities goes right to the families. So this money helps us offset some of the expenses we have internally. We're not, unlike you in local government, where I have to account for all the money and who's paying what bill. This money allows us to cover those kinds of expenses. The other piece that we're looking at and excited about is expanding our work with the Children's Justice and Advocacy Center we currently do in Thurston County. We have worked closely. This is our center where we treat kids who are sexually abused. We have been doing this for probably almost 10 years. As Ron indicated, this is also a model service delivery component that people look at nationally, where it takes the medical piece, the counseling piece, and the prosecutor's piece in one place. We have worked closely with the organization down here as well, and we're looking to expand that. We are doing some work already with forensic interviewing, for instance, up in Thurston County. So we want to make sure we can continue that operation. We're not talking a huge amount of money here, about $45,000 or $50,000, but those are the two main areas we're going to direct our funding in. So if you have any questions on anything we do, please feel free.
John, this is a small portion of the entire CAC budget. Can you,
yes, sir.
Can you elaborate a little bit on some of the other projects that the CAC does?
Yes, sir. The total budget last year audited was about $13 million. We focus in three areas, primarily housing, healthcare, and hunger. Our housing initiatives include the weatherization program that the Colonel spoke of, the energy assistance programs, home renovations. This would be single family or multi, and affordable housing development. We currently have probably 384 units in our inventory, inclusive of Mason County. We have approximately 200 in different stages of planning right now, which hope will pan out in the next couple of years. Under the medical care component, we have the Monarch program. Providence Hospital is located in our clinic up in Thurston County, and I know we provide services down here through the same clinic. We run WIC programs, Women, Infants, and Children. We run the programs in Mason and Thurston County. Caseload is approximately 2,800 per month. And the third component, we opened a dental program up in Mason County, similar to Pope's Place down here, where we provide free and reduced health care to families that come in. Under the hunger areas, primary initiatives are the WIC program. Again, you're familiar with that operation and that you run it. In the food assistance program, which the Colonel spoke to, is we actually run as a broker in actually a 4-community area. We include Kitsap, and we deliver probably 1 million+ pounds of food to a network of 26 to 28 food banks and feeding sites, and they do the distribution locally. We also have a small program up in Mason County called Emergency Food Assistance Program. It's a state-funded program, and that's coordinating money from the state of Washington to purchase food for on behalf of the food banks up in Mason County. So those are our primary initiatives.
Thank you.
One of the things I'm proud of is our administration rate always stays below 10%. So we're trying to get the maximum amount of money out to the communities that we can do. Yes, sir.
You get revenue. You can answer. You get revenue from those projects that you have going right now. The more
multiple sources of revenue from Department of Health, Vulnerable Power Administration, local utility companies, Department of Commerce, Department of Health, Office of Crime Victims, grant called the Community Service Block Grant. This particular grant, Community Development Block Grant, USDA. We're involved in tax credits with a housing project, so we have foundation funding that comes in, United Way funding, so it quite a variable mix of funding.
Just wanted to clarify that John talked about the youth assistance program, which is in Mason County is called Monarch, And in the past, the citizens from Lewis County have been able to use Monarch, but have obviously travel and things like that make that relatively limited. And about 2 years ago, Lewis County formed a child advocacy program, but they called it the Youth Advocacy Program. It's a little bit broader than the Monarch model, and that's what John's hoping to help us with down here.
I wanted to mention that I was in rehab when you were working here. You said 37 years.
Much better now.
I am much better now. Yes.
I'm not going.
I was in, to clarify that, I was in vocational rehabilitation as a counselor and a supervisor, and the Community Action Council was a valid resource for us to use. And then when I became a Centralia City Councilor, having the resources, anytime we had to increase utilities and electric rates, and you know, that building, the utilities department's on Pearl, and you're on Tower. So folks would be referred when we had to increase rates, and if they couldn't handle that because of their poverty level, that they would come over to your office. So I appreciate having that resource so close. Thank you for all that you've done.
Thank you. Now we have questions from the citizens that are here. This hearing is to obtain citizen views. So if there's any questions at all, please come up and ask questions. Does anybody have any questions? Then I will close the question and answer period. Danette, would you like your opening comments be incorporated into the record of the hearing?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
Then we will now open for public testimony. I didn't see anyone sign up, but.
Chair, John and I would like our comments also.
Okay. Does the board have any comments?
I think this is, I will comment, I think this is one of those programs that does get some things done that we need to get done in the communities. I'm usually not very strong on spending tax dollars for a lot of social programs. This is one of them that does do some good and does kind of support itself a little bit, so I appreciate that.
Do any of you have any other further statements?
No, thank you.
Then I will close the hearing for public testimony. What? We don't vote on that today.
Okay. Thank you. I would like to make a reminder to folks in the audience that tomorrow we are having a public open house from 2:30 to 4:30 celebrating National County Government Month. And if you want to know where your taxpayer dollars have been going, we can show you those places tomorrow. So, and we also will have the street closed between the public health building and our historic courthouse. So the sheriff will be bringing in some of their vehicles as well as the coroner. So really suggest that you come on out between 2:30 and 4:30 tomorrow.
Thank you, Commissioner Fund. Our next hearing is the 2013 budget amendment for current expense and various funds, and then we will consider resolution number 13236.
Good morning, Commissioners. Donna Truman, Budget Director. I'm here requesting the first 2013 budget amendment, Resolution 13-236. Notice of this hearing was published in the East County Journal on April the 10th and April the 17th. This first amendment includes adjustments to grants and contracts, which were estimated during the last year's budget process, and changes, a lot of line item changes because of BARS, the accounting coding from the state auditor's office. So you'll see pages and pages of line items that actually equal zero because we're just moving the budget from one account to another. The amendment also includes an estimated revenue and expenditure budget of $2.7 million for the cost to replace the Kiona Road Maintenance Shop, which was recently burned. I will provide the total change of the amendment and that portion that only affects current expense. There's a more detailed description of each line item at the front of the room, and if you need extra copies, my office is right across the hall. The total amendment for all funds was originally noticed at $3,428,535, expenditures in the amount of $3,864,349, and a decrease in fund balances of $435,814. There has been a change since the noticed amount. Changes now amount to revenue in the amount of $3,623,263, expenditures in the amount of $4,290,467, a decrease in fund balances of $667,204. That portion that's current expense uses new revenue of $46,878, an increase in expenditures of $140,116, and a use of fund balance $93,238. Any questions?
Just to clarify, Donna, the fund balance is not the general fund. These are different funds that we have. They're not just the general fund or current expense fund that we're talking about.
The original amount for all funds using $667,000 includes all funds. The amount of $93,238 is what we're using in our operating fund.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? Does anybody have any questions? Anyone can ask a question at this point, and if you understand it, please come up and explain it to the board. Actually, there's quite a few changes. They are on enterprise funds, restricted funds, and the current expense funds. So it's our first attempt to true out the budget that we put together last December. If there are no further questions, I'll close the question and answer period, and I'll open the hearing for public testimony. Donna, would you like your opening comments be incorporated into the record of the hearing?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
Are there any public statements? Would anybody like to make a comment?
I want to reiterate a little bit about the expenditure for the shop, because there's some confusion in the general public. I know just after the Area 7 shop burned, I was contacted by several people in the community and saying, well, my taxes are gonna go up now, and the county is self-insured. And being self-insured, and what that means is we go out and get our own brokers to insure us. It's through the risk pool. So being self-insured doesn't mean that we're taking that money out of the general fund and paying for the building. It means we're taking the money and allocating it so that when we do get insurance funds from that we can then reimburse that account. It doesn't mean that we're paying for the whole thing out of county funds. It means that we're just taking care of the problem right now to allocate the money so that we can spend that money when it does come in. And there's some confusion out there about what self-insurance really means. Self-insurance doesn't mean we're paying everything out of our own funding. It means we're going to insurance companies and brokering it ourselves by way of the risk pool.
Any other statements? Does anybody have any other statements? Then I'll close the hearing for public testimony, and I'll entertain a motion on the resolution.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve Resolution 13-236.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? And I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Budget resolution is passed.
Seeing no further business on our agenda, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.